experts. Yeah. That being said, what do we have on the docket?
You know what? Speaking, because this ties right into it. Like, speaking of drops, the greatest drop man that ever lived was Fred Norris from the Howard Stern show. And I remember, man, this dude's, they called him the button pusher to kind of like break his balls and stuff like that. Because Fred talked plenty of times, throughout it, but his main, job on the show was doing drops for different stories he had, stuff like that.
Right.
He had something for everything, dude. And I swear to God,
that's
man,
cool,
I would
though, man. That's
lose
a
my
skill.
mind laughing when he would place the right one, right in at the right time, dude. Oh my God, it was so fucking funny.
Well, that's what we have to learn.
Yeah.
We have to get good at that.
Yeah, it's the timing and whatnot, in which we'll hone this in, But yeah, with Howard Stern in mind, something crazy happened, man.
I just love this shit,
okay.
man. Sorry, go ahead.
Wonderful. So Howard Stern for the past, so when everybody, the big COVID-19 scare happened and the world shut down.
Kung flu
came from China. Disease came from China. They thought it was
the China virus.
Yeah. Then they found out it was lab-born and all that, So it's just that whole wild ride.
So we found out what we initially thought it was in the first place that we just deviated away from for 2 years for no reason. But yeah.
Basically, we found out what they were trying to cover up until they couldn't cover it up anymore. So, but one guy that stayed vigilant through the entire thing and long after, I should have had the effect on that, long after was Howard Stern. He was a big voice for vaccines. He had said that, when do people stop, quote, when do people stop telling me about their freedom?
What do you mean, you people?
What do you mean, you people? Back in the day, you could have said that to him, and it was something else, but, he said, when are people going to stop telling me about their freedom? Fuck your freedom. If you don't get the vaccine, just die. Now, he's always had a radical voice, and I don't care.
Wow.
That's how he put it. And listen, man.
Fuck your freedom?
Yes.
Just die?
Yes. I'm not shocked by what he said. I'm not taking it back. I'm not offended by any of it. I think anybody can have the right to say whatever they want. The problem is, coming from him is where it's weird, because that dude was all about
you could say whatever
freedom.
you want, and then we can critique it.
Exactly. And he had said, he's like, you got all these people, they're not doctors, they don't know about the vaccine. Well, what does that say about your side too? It's like, oh, you should get the vaccine. Well, you're not a doctor neither. These doctors saying this, everybody just kind of had their own point.
Can I make a point?
Yeah.
That doctors also don't know about the vaccine.
Yeah.
So hot take, by the way, if you're a doctor, you probably went to medical school. If you're a general physician or just like a regular doctor, you're not like a vax specialist. You're not like a disease specialist or something like this. Like, you don't create them.
Yeah.
You're a guy who has a general knowledge of medicine, and then you have medicines that you're supposed to prescribe that reps come and sell to you to prescribe to other people. You don't have a deep understanding of how vaccines work and what they do and why they're good and which ones are good and which ones are bad just because you have PhD in front of your name.
Yeah,
That's not true.
You might be able to administer the vaccine, right? But you don't know what's really in it. I mean, you know what I mean?
Most doctors have a very base knowledge of medicine in general. They know the system more than they know about medicine, to be frank.
Yeah.
That's true, man.
Absolutely.
Why that's like... So, when I got sick a few years back, I had some kind of autoimmune condition. I was all messed up. No one could figure out what it was. They basically volleyed me from one specialist to the next to do tests, and nobody had an answer, and no one knew what to do next.
Yeah.
I went to a neurologist, an endocrinologist. I went to a stomach specialist. I went to all different kinds of doctors, ear, nose, and throat doctor, and all that stuff. And even the ENTs and the specialists, if you will, they have a very concentrated knowledge in their specific field. And even then, there's good ones and bad ones in their field. Not everyone that has a job is good at it.
Yeah.
And just because you're a doctor doesn't mean that you're a good doctor. That's amazing.
That is amazing.
What did you do?
I don't know. I don't know why that happened. We have new effects as well. We
visual effects.
Yeah, we can fold the table whenever.
But no, the point is that just because you are a doctor doesn't mean that you're all knowing and all fucking powerful, if you
absolutely.
will. They don't know everything, man. So it's like, all right, so if you go to a mechanic, there's different types of mechanics, if you will. There's mechanics that know how to work on old cars, ones that know how to work on new cars. I met mechanics that only work on BMWs.
Yeah.
And even then, there's degrees of them.
Yeah,
they're not all perfect. Yeah,
the European specialist and whatnot, absolutely. And then there's a guy that can take out your radiator, put it back in, and some old model.
I don't
Chevy
know
or
why we
something.
just put them all in one base category of doctor, and then now you're at the highest knowledge possible just because you have doctor in front of your name.
Yeah,
All right, so I'm a server. All right, I just started waiting tables again after 16 years, maybe like 8 months ago, if you will.
Yeah.
I'm not as good as someone that's been doing it in fine dining for the last 5-6 years.
Absolutely.
And we have the same title in front of our names.
Yeah.
There's degrees of aptitude.
Well, the title stays the same, but you're not going to get this.
So expert is like this vague blanket umbrella term that basically means nothing. It just means just trust me.
Yeah.
That's how it sounds to me.
Well, that's how the news always describes people as expert says. I'd love to see what their experts have done and, what kind of time they put in there. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's so silly, man.
Where's your Nobel Prize?
Yeah, you know what I mean? So
Howard Stern.
So he was saying, he was like, oh, man, I was by the way, he was back to work in a week just like fucking everybody else that got it that year. So here's how this went down. So he stayed in his house all those years. He has a very young wife. Everybody knows it, Beth Ostrowski, the model. He kept that woman inside his giant house. Now, although a giant house, it's practically a prison because he had rules for her too. You know what I mean? She was not to see anybody. When they did go out, think about this, man. To be Howard Stern's friend, and you're a celebrity too at this point because he doesn't hang out with any of the regular people. He doesn't hang out with any of the Joe Schmoes anymore, right? To be Howard Stern's friend, if you were going to see him, you first had to do a COVID test to make sure you're okay. And when you're walking through the door, you had to get your fever taken and all this, blah, blah, blah. There's like the precautions that this man went through was insane. And he still managed to contract COVID-19. He was sick for a little bit. He came back in a week. I'm sure his body's stronger from it now. Dude's 70-something years old. Even in, the age range where it's dangerous, where they were telling us it's dangerous, real young, real old, blah, blah, blah. He's fine. And this fool went on, man. And I don't know
He's
if
up
it's
to his ears in booster shots.
Exactly. Quintuple boosted, like 5 times over.
He should be immortal at this point with the amount of boosters the guy fucking got.
The first vaccine that needs boosters for some reason.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's exactly true, but I never heard of getting one over and over and over again. I mean, polio was eradicated, right? So he does all this and he still contracts and he's fine. He's doing okay. Now, I was asking Nick this before the show. I don't know why he went on with this message. He comes back on the radio. Yesterday was his first day back, and he says, I want to thank God for the people at the vaccine company for creating this and helping so many Americans. He said, if I didn't have the vaccine, I would probably be dead. He's like, I was sick. I was
based
so sick. On what?
Based on what?
Yeah.
Based on what?
A good guess? Like, are you kidding me? And I don't know. I've heard that more people tend to have more complications with the vaccine than the ones that don't.
Sure. Well, there's all kinds of information coming out that there are side effects and people are getting injured from it. I'm not saying not to take it. What I'm saying is don't be a diehard rider for it and not know what the fuck you're talking about. And then judge people and mock people and berate people and talk down to people when you yourself have no idea what you're talking about. And then you get it, and that's your only recourse is to say, well, if I didn't have the vaccine, it would have been worse based on nothing. Dude, just apologize, man.
I just realized
Howard Stern's desperate ploy to stay relevant is very embarrassing.
And for the record, let me just say
it's like Madonna.
Right
it's like
now.
just right off into the sunset. You had a great career, man.
Yeah.
You're 1,000 years old. Let it go. You did it. Goodbye. Make room for the next generation.
Yeah, this hanging around is kind of just sad now. He's
hanging around.
Destroying his legacy.
Around.
Yeah.
The kid's got alligator blood. Do you remember that? Rounders?
Yeah.
Teddy KGB?
Give him his money. He beat me.
He
straight
beats
up.
me.
I love that. God, he's so good. Hey, man, you know what I was just wondering? Though?
What?
Let me just say this right now for anybody listening. God, for if you're running over to YouTube and trying to do this, we are not saying we have no information on the vaccine. Whether you take, it's all up to you. If you feel like it's good, blah blah blah. We're not talking about the vaccine.
We're talking about Howard Stern.
We're talking about Howard Stern and the fact that he caught it. I don't want to get hit with that again for the whole medical misinformation.
Oh
thing.
yeah.
You know what I mean? When we're talking about it, for some reason, if you focus in on the vaccine and you're not just campaigning for it, it automatically comes out to, well, that means you're against it. Truth is,
we're not saying not to take it.
Yeah,
we're saying to shut up and take it.
Absolutely. If you want to take it, take it. That's what we're saying. And we just think it's kind of, the irony of this whole situation is funny for a man that has the resources to go so hard and try so hard to stay away from this, winds up getting in. It really wasn't that bad. Because let's get real. If it was bad, if it was really bad, he wouldn't have been back to work that
Didn't
following
he say
Monday.
it was like the sickest he's ever been?
Yes. He went on
The
and
sickest.
on about
You're
it.
a lucky man, Howard Stern. The sickest you've ever been lasted less than a week, and you were back to work the following Monday.
Yeah.
That's the sickest you've ever been. What a blessed life.
So I was asking Nick about this. You guys tell me. This is what I'm thinking. Like, I think he wants to continue his lifestyle right now of not seeing anybody and living under this dome of fear, so he doesn't have to associate with other people and socialize and do those things. Because when he had that in front of him, it was almost like a shield. Because Howard is a very private guy. He doesn't like socializing much. If you've ever listened to him, you know that. And I think that this was like the best excuse he's ever had to not do these things. So I think with him coming back and immediately saying that there's still fear there involved, like, oh my God, I almost died. Could happen. What if we catch it again? I could do this again. You know, a good thing I was vaccinated. You know, hopefully we don't have to continue on with this. I mean, I don't think he's going to like say, okay, I got it. All right, time to go out in the world again. Let's go enjoy ourselves. Let's go. No way. I mean, he continues this charade, right?
Well, he's selling two types of fear. Fear one is just like his own germaphobe kind of weird shit that he's got going on that you were telling me about before.
Yeah.
And then fear two is, again, elites, please don't hit me. Please don't take my show away. I'm not saying the wrong thing. Yeah. I'm towing the line. Please look away. Please don't hurt me. That's all I hear from it, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
How old is he? Like 70-something years old?
His birthday show is happening. I think he's 71, 74, something like that.
He has a birthday show?
Dude,
who's listening to him at this point?
All I know, he's 70 years old. You tell me who his audience is.
Yeah.
Who really dude, what kid is listening on going, the Howard Stern show is on. Let's listen to a 70-year-old Howard Stern talk about anything.
He's hip.
Yeah, he's hip. Dude, that was the most cutting edge show in history, and now it's been turned into a big joke with his topics and him trying to get every celebrity to cry on there. The other day, he brought Pitbull on there, and he starts talking about dancing. Howard gets his big lanky ass up and starts trying to dance at Pitbull, and he's doing this goofy thing, and it's like, dude, could you imagine your 30-year-old self saw you doing this right now? Oh my God, it'd be a bloodbath, dude. It'd be a fucking bloodbath, and it'd be one of those, Back to the Future things where he's like, "Don't do it. 50 years old, just cut it off. Just stop the show. Enjoy your life."
So that being said, welcome back, Anthony Cumia.
Oh yeah, dude.
Anthony Cumia, he never deviated from his lane though. No. You know what I mean? He gets on the mic. He's an interesting guy who's hilarious and just is a great conversationalist, and he just does what he does. He never tried to pander to anything. He never tried to change his brand, if you will. Yeah. He just is what he is,
If he was still a tin knocker right now, the conversation would be the same thing. It'd be him bullshitting, very smart guy, knows a lot of things about science and how
it's
things
just sad
work.
to watch a geriatric Howard Stern try to stay relevant.
Yeah. A geriatric Howard Stern, in his fear for his life for stupid COVID, when our guy, our hero that's just been nothing but righteous and a cool guy and a wonderful person, go through a quadruple bypass for having a couple drinks. It's just
a couple.
I mean a couple thousand.
The understatement of the universe.
Week, yeah,
a couple of drinks for breakfast.
Oh my goodness, man. Yeah. I got compound meeting. It's so good having him back. It feels so good. He's going to his South Carolina studio too.
No shit.
Yeah.
Is it done?
Yeah, it's all set up. He built some mega computer to run it. They did one show off of it. Him and Gavin did one for Censored and Compound. Yeah. And it had its tech problems. It's funny, but there you go. You know what I mean? It literally sounded like our first couple of shows, us kind of finagling around with things.
He's a millionaire, by the way.
Stopping in the middle.
Someone who's a millionaire still had to work shit out. Yeah. And we've been going through this since the jump. It's fine. I'm proud of us.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Let me give this to you. He's a millionaire with tech that's far beyond what we can afford.
Oh yeah.
And you did it with our budget, which was two unemployed guys that had a room at that time.
We started this show with $500. Yeah. Basically.
No, he built a studio for $500. Remember when I said that? Remember that's the very first time I said, "Did you build a studio for $500?" It was a trip. He said $250. We hit flat, bam, $250. Everything else that we've added on, we've always needed. And the good thing about that, with starting with nothing, is when it does come to need something, when it does comes time to need something, you're going to know that you truly need it. And everything we've got thus far has been wonderful. It's been such an addition.
And
to the
now we're
show.
upgrading again,
Yeah.
hence the effects.
Absolutely.
We're very excited about
Yeah.
the effects, guys, by the way. We're fucking cheesy like that. We have a good time with it.
We're just getting our beaks wet tonight, kind of like, starting off the show.
I just wanted to
We're
show
gonna
that
start doing
we have the
that. Yeah.
capacity and that it is going to happen, and we're going to like
Yeah.
run skits at some point in time. It's going to be a great time. We're
It's
going to have a
like-
good time. Stick with us.
It's like when before you started school and you'd wear like your new outfit outside for like 1 minute and then go back in and put your old clothes back on and run out. So you want to show everybody before it starts. Well, that's what we just did to you.